As the prince, you've gone on such a huge journey from the beginning of the show to the end. He turns around to the audience, he's walking back. At that point, I do just feel everything that is like raw, pure me, pure emotion. And I do feel really connected to the audience because I feel like I'm not hiding anything. I'm just like, that's it. When the natural kind of tears come, if they do come that night, then it does feel really cathartic. And after you're finished, after you've done that last reach and flopping down onto the bed, I couldn't possibly move. And that is honestly one of the best feelings I've ever had. Swan Lake, the most iconic ballet created. To be able to perform in this adaptation of it is just mind-blowing. Doing The Prince, it's an honour, and I've got to do it justice. The first time I heard of New Adventures was when I was at school, and a couple of my teachers had danced for the company. They'd done Swan Lake. The storytelling they have really makes you feel something as an audience. And I was like, I want to be able to make people feel that. I want to be on that stage. There's excellent movement, there's great choreography, but then there's also pure acting. Like there's scenes where people, it almost feels like they're talking when you're watching it. It feels like you can hear the conversations they're having. Initially, I wanted to be an actor. That was like when I was very young, that was kind of my dream. When I was like 11, 12, I started actually taking dance classes. It's always been the storytelling which has like made me want to do it. Like the dancing, the pure movement, the reason behind it for me has always been the storytelling. That's like the reason for the dancing. We had the competition, Tring Part Dance of the Year, and we had all prepared a lot as students, and Glenn was one of the judges. Glenn Graham is a resident artist here with New Adventures. He's been my mentor through my principal support program, and I had a really nice chat with him after the competition, and he told me kind of that he liked my movement quality, and then I found out that he was with New Adventures, and I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I'd love to do that, actually. After that, I went to watch The Corman, and he was in it. I went to stage door, and when he came out, I had a chat with him, and I told him that I had applied for the company, and he was like, oh yeah, I saw your application, like good luck for the audition and everything. So I think that's kind of where my journey with New Adventures started. A lot of full circle moments, a lot of kind of being in the right place at the right time. So after Romeo and Juliet, I had played the role of Balthazar, which was an incredible role. And I had a lot of mentors within the company, people who had played it before who kind of helped me. Matt asked me if I wanted to audition for the role of the Prince, and I was kind of a bit overwhelmed. And we did kind of like an audition day. And later on when we were on tour, he sat me down and he told me that he would like to offer me the role of the Prince. I was just ecstatic. Rehearsals was tough, like it was a lot because there's a lot to learn as well, like choreography wise. Glenn really helped me to make it kind of big enough for the whole audience to understand it and for the whole audience to be feeling that with me. And so he really helped with a lot of the physicality, facial expressions in order to make them big enough but still authentic, still real and true. I was just kind of concentrating on the choreography, getting that down, and then bringing all of the storytelling and emotion. I feel like I came on a bit of a journey with that because I think by the end of rehearsals, I wasn't like fully ready to like bring on an audience. But later on in those weeks, like when we started doing the tech and the first kind of shows, I think through the first shows and like still now, I'm still on a journey of like bringing that character to life. I had these kind of figures who had done big roles before, people who had done the Prince before. We had Domi in, we had James who's playing the Prince who did it last time as well. And so I definitely learned a lot from them and kind of like following in their footsteps. The show that you'd watch in the first week of Sadler's is definitely a very different show to the last day when we're leaving. It's evolved and it's grown. Fortunately, I've been working with Neil Westmoreland on tour. He's our resident director. He is in charge of our rehearsals. He's in charge of keeping the show clean. He's always watching the show and giving us notes and making sure we're kind of on top of our game. And he previously played the Prince, so he knows the show inside and out. He's got all the advice. It's really helped me, especially in bits in the show where you get quite tired, you feel that fatigue in your legs at the end of Act 2. I constantly hear his voice kind of telling me to keep pushing. And there was one point in Sadler's where I think there was one show that he watched and he said that was the turning point, and that was a cool moment because I felt it as well, which was great. And he was watching the show and he was like, yeah, that's what we've been working towards, and just keep growing from there. So I think preparing for the Prince, I don't think too much about the show, because if I do, then it makes me a little bit nervous. When I'm lying on the bed, the lights go down and I start hearing the music, that's when I'm kind of in it. I'm the Prince. The first bit of the show, he's not overly emotional, he's just this young boy. The bits where you can really let go is the Soho solo. During that scene, I can completely let go, because you have to get to that kind of angry point and that pure desperation. It doesn't have to be clean, you can throw things, because when he's wrapping his arms around himself, he just wants that feeling of being loved, being hugged, that his mum has never given him. Every ounce of your body is reaching for that. The kind of flashes from the cameras, he doesn't feel like he fits that world. By the end of Act 1, he's feeling really betrayed, he's lost, he's quite confused, and he's a bit drunk as well. He runs into this park and he feels like everyone's kind of against him. For me, in his head, he's like, the world won't miss me if I'm gone. And it's that moment where the Swan comes out that completely saves his life. From when he sees the Swan, he wants to kind of get closer to him and maybe kind of touch him. That moment in the waltz where the Prince does get to kind of hold on to the Swan and they look at each other, that's when he's kind of like, oh wow, he feels it. And when they're dancing together, when the Prince is learning to be part of the flock, learning to be a swan, it's just pure ecstatic joy, and kind of shows him that there is a reason kind of to keep living. Doing the duets, I really enjoy sharing it and working with someone else. Jackson was the kind of original Balthazar, and so when I was learning the role of Balthazar, he was really teaching it to me. And so when I found out I was going to be playing the Prince and he would be playing one of the swans, I was really excited to do it with him. The main challenge for me was being able to portray that story big enough so that the audience would, to the back of the gods, would read it. I'm definitely still on the journey, but I feel like I have come a long way from the first show to where I am now. The moment I felt completely present and comfortable on stage was definitely during Sadler's. After a couple of weeks, I was able to form and mold that show exactly how I wanted to do it, because I was present in every moment, where I felt like I was doing purely my own version of it. Doing your own bow is incredible, because you know that when you're bowing, the claps and the cheers are for you in that moment. Doing the bow is the whole company, standing next to the Swan, who I've just performed this incredible show with, and we've both been on a journey together. And these people who I had watched a few years ago on stage, and I was sitting in the audience thinking, oh, I'd love to just be on that stage, whoever I am, even if I'm sweeping the wings, I'd love to be on that stage. You can see the faces of the people in the first few rows and kind of seeing their joy, and sometimes they're crying, and that really makes me, first few times I had to hold back tears, I think. Younger me watching these shows, I feel like I've done him proud.